For centuries, we've all wondered about the Bermuda Triangle. What's really going on down there? Is it aliens, rogue waves, methane gas? Well, according to a groundbreaking new paper from the International Journal of Nautical Discrepancies, all of those theories have one massive, fatal flaw. They're just not weird enough.
Now, I'm serious. That's their actual argument. The researchers, Dr. Weiler and Professor Bellman, basically say that every single explanation we've ever come up with fails because it just doesn't match the sheer strangeness of the facts. It's like we've been trying to apply normal physics to a place where, let's be honest, normal packed its bags and went on vacation a long, long time ago.
So if all the old theories are out, what's their big idea? Well, they call it the cosmic dustpan theory, and it is a wild one. They're proposing that the triangle isn't some paranormal hotspot. It's a literal glitch in the fabric of reality. Like a cosmic 404 not found error page. It's basically the universe's junk drawer, the place where it sweeps everything it misplaces. We're talking your car keys, that one 10mm socket you can never find, and, yep, apparently, entire naval fleets.
And one of their first big clues was found in the water itself. Turns out, its composition is not what you'd expect. They found it's actually a non-Newtonian fluid. And get this, it's made of about 70% regular salt water and 30% pure liquid anxiety. Yeah, you heard me. And that really weird chemical makeup? That might just explain why everything out there is so incredibly unpredictable.
Okay, so how do you even begin to study a place like this? I mean, you can't just show up with a barometer and a clipboard, right? The research team realized they had to completely throw out the rule book. They had to invent a whole new way of doing science, something that could actually handle the sheer weirdness of it all.
And when I say unconventional, I mean it. For example, they had something called Project Boomerang, which basically proved that the Atlantic Ocean is a huge fan of ultimate frisbee. For navigation, they skipped sonar and instead hired a medium to just ask pirate ghosts for directions. But the real kicker was what they called the compass test.
So they took a compass right into the heart of the zone. And it didn't point north. It pointed, wait for it, to Tuesday. Unequivocally, that one single piece of data tells you everything you need to know. We're talking about a complete and total breakdown of physics as we understand it.
So what in the world is causing all of this spatiotemporal chaos? Well, the paper digs into a few key environmental hazards that are totally unique to the area. And it all starts with the tiny little things living in that anxiety-filled water we just talked about. Yeah, forget everything you learned about magnetic north. The real reason compasses go haywire, according to this paper, is something they call polarized plankton. Apparently, these little microorganisms are super magnetic, but they're also chronic tax evaders. So when a big ship comes along, which they think is the IRS coming to collect, they totally panic, start swirling around, and generate this massive electromagnetic field. And they even came up with a formula for it, the Jack Sparrow constant. The math is complex, but the most important part is the variable on the bottom, rum, as in the captain's blood alcohol level. See, as the amount of rum gets closer to zero, the compass spinning goes to infinity, which leads to a truly incredible conclusion. Sober captains are way, way more likely to get lost.
It's not just the compasses either. The paper also tackles those infamous, mysterious fogs. Now, boring old conventional science says it's probably methane gas bubbling up. The authors found that theory less than convincing. Apparently, they tested it with a rubber duck in a bathtub. Their finding is much more elegant. The fog is actually aerosolized amnesia.
So imagine you're a pilot and you fly into this cloud of unknowing. You don't just forget how to fly, you forget your own name. You forget if you lock the front door, you forget that planes are even a thing. This, as you can imagine, leads to what the paper calls the existential crisis dive. It's this slow, gentle descent where the pilot figures the only logical thing to do is, go ask a dolphin for directions. Okay, so this explains all the confusion and the weirdness. But it still leaves the biggest question of all, right? If these planes and ships aren't just crashing, where do they go? Well, the paper has a couple of pretty mind-blowing ideas about that. Let's take Flight 19, that famous lost squadron. According to the research, they're not lost at all. They're just stuck in a little pocket of what's called slow time. It's basically a temporal holding pattern, where every minute feels like spending an entire afternoon at the DMV. So they're essentially waiting for air traffic control to finish a lunch break that started back in 1945.
The paper calculates we should probably expect them to land sometime around 2074, and they'll probably be pretty mad about the lack of peanuts.
And then there's the other destination. And this one confirms a suspicion I think we've all had for years. The Bermuda Triangle is the exit portal for the wormhole that lives inside every single clothes dryer. It's the only thing that explains the impossibly high number of single socks on the seafloor. It also suggests that the massive USS Cyclops was basically just a really, really big sock that got eaten by the universe's lint trap.
So you've got tax-evading plankton, amnesia fog, wormholes in our dryers. How does any of this make sense together? Well, this is where the researchers tie it all up into one big, beautiful, cohesive theory. They call it the Grand Unified Theory of Absence. First off, there's a major local player that nobody has ever considered before, the Atlantis Homeowners Association. And forget the City of Gold stuff. We're talking about a deep-sea, gated community that is absolutely obsessed with property values and peace and quiet. The paper argues that a lot of these so-called disappearances aren't mysterious at all. They're just legally mandated confiscations. See, this HOA has some seriously strict bylaws. Your ship's engines are making too much noise. That vessel is getting impounded. Your sonar pings are a little too annoying. Oh, the fines for that are even worse. So the Bermuda Triangle isn't some deep mystery. It's just the universe's most aggressively enforced no-wake zone. And all of this points to the final, grand, unifying theory. The Bermuda Triangle actually serves a really important purpose. It's Earth's recycle bin. Think about it. When the simulation we're all living in starts to run low on memory, it just drags and drops the extra stuff, planes, ships, socks, right into the triangle to free up some RAM.
So the big question is, what are we supposed to do about it? At least until the developers of Reality finally release a patch, which, by the way, is tentatively scheduled for 2027. The good news is the paper actually wraps up with some practical, actionable advice for anyone who has to travel through there.
All right, here are the official safety tips. Number 1, pack extra socks. Seriously. Number 2, just ignore your compass. Your best guess is probably better. And this is the most important one. If you run into that glowing green amnesia fog, you have to be firm. Just look it in the cloud and politely say, no thank you, because, and this is a key point, universal law states the fog cannot legally take you without your consent.
And the paper leaves us with one final brilliant thought, a proposal for their next research project. Okay, so if the triangle is basically a glitchy recycle bin where stuff gets reformatted, what would happen if we just threw a Toyota Prius in there? Could it turn into a Tesla? Could we actually use this cosmic bug to our advantage? It's a hilarious, fascinating question, and honestly, it just perfectly sums up the weird, wonderful, and completely baffling place we call the Bermuda Triangle.